In a time where Project 2025 is threatening our most basic rights and Vladimir Putin is threatening the global order that we live in, Donald Trump decides to lean into his authoritarian urges by undermining our institutions, using apocalyptic rhetoric about our country, and villainizing immigrants. He just floated a new idea where he wants to have immigrants fighting in a ring like it's the UFC. It's a disgusting idea. The Atlantic reads, like most Trumpian strokes of rhetorical genius, including Make America Great Again and the notion that migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, this idea of a migrant cage match is scandalous or sticky depending on your POV, not because it is original, but because it is familiar. Once again, Trump has reached into the back closet of history and dragged out one of our ugliest and most hateful conceits. And I'll expand on that in a minute, but first, watch this clip of Donald Trump at his rally talking about this idea.
I told Dana White of UFC, I said, here's what we're going to do. You know, these are tough cookies coming into our country, coming with prisons and mental institutions. I said to Dana White, UFC, he's got a big fight going on right now. He's a good friend of mine. You know what he said the other day? They said, who's the toughest person you've ever met? He said, definitely Donald Trump. He said, Donald Trump. How about that? But I said, Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are.
Now, of course, MAGA is trying to pass this off as a joke, but when you take into account Donald Trump's rhetoric about immigrants since the day he started running back in 2015, it doesn't seem like a joke. Calling human beings coming over here for a better life rapists, murderers, and thieves is a type of dehumanizing rhetoric that the Nazis used. Wanting to put them in a cage to fight is absolutely evil, and saying that they're poisoning the blood of our country couldn't be farther from the truth, when of course America is built off of immigration. Our economy only benefits from immigration. And Donald Trump acts like he cares about the border or cares about illegal immigration, but when we actually had a bill that we were about to pass that 18,000 Border Patrol agents signed onto that would increase funding for asylum judges and Border Patrol agents, Donald Trump shoots it down, or he directs Congress to shoot it down for his own political gain. This Atlantic article continues. White confirmed that Trump had floated this idea, referring to Dana White, but assured everyone that it was meant as a joke. If you don't think it's funny, a Trump campaign spokesperson suggested, it's probably because you're one of those, quote, elitists who, quote, are the same people who stupidly think combat sports is human cockfighting, showing their ignorance to the sweet science of mixed martial arts. We don't think this is a terrible idea because we hate mixed martial arts. We think it's a terrible idea because you're taking people, migrants coming over here for a better life, and putting them in a cage to fight when Donald Trump repeatedly calls them drug addicts and murderers. He lays the groundwork for making it seem like all migrants are crazy, and now in his world, we're putting crazy people in a ring to fight. That is what Donald Trump is imagining. The article continues, I am admittedly not an expert in the sweet science of MMA, but I do know my nation's history, and I have, like many high school graduates in America, read Invisible Man. Trump's comments immediately conjured up the battle royale at the beginning of Ralph Ellison's classic. Black boys are being paid to box each other blindfolded for the amusement of drunken white spectators in the Jim Crow South. And while Invisible Man was a work of fiction, the battle was based on reality. After the Emancipation era, black people used to be forced to fight in cages together. This reads, white audiences who resented the end of slavery would organize fights between black men, a racial segregated blood sport for entertainment. Trump has long considered race battles to be good entertainment. The Migrant Championship is just an upcycled version of his idea for a, quote, black versus white season of The Apprentice. He told Howard Stern in 2005 that the black team would include light and dark-skinned black people, but the white team would be, quote, all blondes. It would be the highest rated show on television, he claimed. And this is a personal anecdote, but I've been to maybe 20 Trump rallies, and my cameraman and I have noticed this weird pattern where all of the workers at the Trump rallies are always blonde women, bright blonde women. We have videos that we've recorded of people working at the press stand, and there's 4 or 5 women standing there, and they are all just identical blonde ladies. It's really weird. It's really Nazi-esque, you know, the blonde hair, blue eyes that people always talk about. Why is Trump continuing to excel in polls, even among Latino voters, some 40% of whom support him despite his obvious racism? One reason is that they trust his handling of the economy. But America has a long tradition of the newest immigrant groups seeking membership in white America by beating up on the most recent people through the door, even in cases like today's when the newest immigrants might look and speak like them. And this is something I've seen online a lot. There are so many videos, of course videos are anecdotal, but of people saying they immigrated here and now they want to close the border, or they want to vote for Trump so he closes the border. And again, when it comes to people thinking that Donald Trump handled the economy better than President Biden, I think this is how most Americans engage with politics. People like you, people like me, we're locked in all the time. We know the intricacies of what's going on a day-to-day basis. And President Biden is actually strong among educated voters, people that are locked in on what's going on in politics. But the uneducated voters or apolitical people who just casually pay attention to politics, all I know is that things were cheaper under Donald Trump 4 years ago. Gas was cheaper, and when President Biden came into office, things got more expensive. Obviously, this wasn't caused by President Biden, but they look at this correlation and they make it seem like, or they try to paint it as President Biden's fault. That is how a lot of people engage with politics, and sometimes we forget that because of how locked in we are. Part of what made this pitch so extraordinary is the degree to which it encapsulates a variety of Trump's worst qualities. In a single idea, the former president managed to combine his affinity for violence, his contempt for migrants, his embrace of demagoguery, and his penchant for horrible business proposals. That's not an easy thing to do in 41 seconds, but he managed to pull it off. But watching the candidate sell his idea, I found myself dwelling on a related question. Who thinks like this? Trump sees desperate people trying to start a new life in the United States, and it occurs to him that it might be worthwhile to put gloves on them, throw them into a ring, and allow spectators to watch them fight for a sport. It's offensive, certainly, but it also reflects a rather twisted perspective. A Biden campaign spokesperson said in a statement, quote, Trump's incoherent, unhinged tirade showed voters in his own words that he is a threat to our freedoms and is too dangerous to be let anywhere near the White House. And I'm really glad that MSNBC article made a similar point to the one I made earlier in the video. These people are coming over here for a better life, a new life, for more economic opportunity, and conservatives should be embracing that. Immigrants are a net benefit for the economy in every single way, especially in a time when we need labor, we need people coming over, and Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans would rather be violent and be exclusionary and dehumanize these people that are coming to the land of opportunity, as Republicans call it, which I think America truly is. Either way, we are 2 days out from the debate, and if this version of Donald Trump shows up, this unhinged, maniacal, plotting version of Donald Trump versus the President Biden that we saw at the State of the Union or during the Howard Stern interview, then we should be good. I'm expecting a gaffe from both of them, and hopefully the media doesn't just take the one gaffe from President Biden the one time he slips up and run with that, because President Biden will make a lot of good points, and I am certain of it. Either way, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment a blue heart, hit that subscribe button, and have a great day.